Okay, okie dokie. Good morning. It is Thursday. Today is day 34 of our favorite stream where we do handmade game dev and handmade game accessories. Uh, we are still working really hard on the Mac version of our game. I think right now just yesterday at the end of the stream we were able to overcome one of the biggest hurdles of getting the game to really run multi-platform and be able to do most of the things we wanted to do to just go about prototyping the design some more, and that was achieving platform and frame rate independent physics, which is super awesome, super cool, especially for our game. So if you'd like to join me for today's stream while we go about our business doing lots of fun stuff, all you need for that is your drink of choice. Today's morning matcha is brought to you by me and my hometown's local matcha supplier. So it's pretty good stuff. Okay, so like I said, we achieved our frame rate independence that we were looking for yesterday, which is so awesome because have been stuck on that now basically for had been stuck on that for basically a week at that point. And there are a lot of pieces that had to go into it, but I think we were finally there, which is really good. So if you'll avert your eye or take a look at the screen, you can see we're running. Metal thinks we're running at like 250, 300 FPS. Physics is pretty freaking smooth. You can go do a bunch of these things, skate around the planet, kind of boost around, do all this stuff. And if we were to tank the frame rate, let's say if we we just open Zen browser, we dropped our FPS by by some amount. If we were to pull up something like graphically demanding, for just pull up our YouTube or something, that's going on in the background, but you can still kind of do all the things that you were doing before, and they're all running at about the same qualitative level. So huge, awesome news, really great stuff, and we're happy to have completed that. So the very next thing I think that we really want to do is we want to just consult the graph, not consult the to-do list here. This one keeps slipping. we'll push that back. But the things that we really want to do is we did that, which is awesome. These two are like a couple of like little movement touching up tasks, and these two are a couple of little technical tasks that I think could help for debug. But I think we might want to actually save some of those until we get to a point where we're trying to really trying to refine something kind of specific. So we're going to go back to our design notes for our test level here, because our short-term plan here basically is to actually design and realize kind of this vision of the first level of the game, in which you do a couple of things. So in this game, Escape Velocity, you are a little spaceship going around the solar system controlled by gravity physics, and your goal is to pilot your way around here using gravity in kind of these smart, interesting ways to slingshot yourself around planets, do all this fun stuff to reach like the goal at the other side of the solar system. So there are going to be a number of pieces that are going to go into that. it's actually because this is fundamentally, if we can execute on this level, on a level where that has like the kind of all of the basic versions of the ideas that we want to test out, then we can see, hey, is this a game that is got some legs to stand on that we should devote? okay, we've devoted like maybe a couple months to it already, but if we should devote like the next couple of years to it, into going all in on it, right? So that's where we are at right now. I'm just gonna finish my tea really quick, and then we can just jump right into it for today. Jump right into it. Okie dokie. So I guess before we want to add anything, we want to go to make sure all of the parameters of our movement are kind of set in a way that we want them for this level and now our current new physics simulation setup. So there's quite a few, right? So we have to make sure, for example, you can't just boost or just walk your way off the planet just like by holding a button. That's not going to work. We have to make sure you kind of can't boost directly off the planet, just straight up. And this is our starting planet we're going to use as the baseline here, where this Earth-like planet should be hard enough to escape from, unless you start trying to like slingshot yourself and add momentum from the planet's gravitational field to your own to build up the speed you need. So, a couple things. We had we had a whole bunch of this stuff before. And the unfortunate part was, in doing all of this stuff to achieve frame rate independence, most of it kind of went down the crapshoot here. The feel and of the physics and all of the ways that it kind of all of the parameters controlling it have kind of totally radically changed at this point. The actual way the game behaves and like how frequently it's pulling for input changes too. So we had just yesterday a bug where like, oh, you can even still kind of do it where you can like sort of like double jump here, right? If you are frame perfect, probably you can boost again in midair because the recharge time is like a little too short for you to boost here. So that's another thing to try to change. But I think so the boost is kind of like the real problem mechanic I've been finding with this prototype, because what the boost lets you do essentially is you have to think of all of these, every level of the game as a solar system, or as a closed system where there is a finite amount of potential energy based on all of the objects in the level that have a gravitational field, as well as the starting position of the spaceship relative to all those gravitational fields. So, for example, right now, we spawn like right here, so a little bit above the surface of the Earth. So in this like exact moment, we have about 300. It looks like 300 momentum. 300 is some arbitrary number that the units for it we will we will choose to not care about, but basically bigger number means that you're moving faster, or you have higher potential energy because of being high up in like a gravitational field, right? And so also an interesting thing to play with all of this is the possibility that in classical physics, on Earth, imagine you were Aristotle or Newton or something. Your momentum, your potential energy just always is going up is just always increasing as your height, your altitude increases. But to add a little bit of complication there, maybe there's a certain amount of distance you go away from a planet where the distance part of the gravity equation starts to take more control, and so then you have sort of a you can have like a parabolic or other type of shape of where is the highest potential energy part of the level, right? Which determines like which should be determining, what is what are the places that you should be able to get to, assuming you can convert all of your momentum at like that exact position. Also assuming that the level is totally static. Convert all of your the momentum that is available to you at that position into kinetic energy, which means velocity, which means that you can go as fast as you want wherever you want, right? Within the confines of the level design. The problem with the boost is that the boost is I guess there you go. The problem with the boost basically is that it's the way it works is it has this like little meter at the top left. It has this short recovery time, but it just multiplies your base impulse that you're able to apply. So you are also able to apply small impulse by hitting like the direction buttons in order to bias the direction that your ship is going to move. But the boost is quite extreme because it has to be big enough, over the period of time that the boost lasts for, to give you enough starting momentum, starting energy to try to escape from the surface of whatever planet we are deciding to put you next to, like for the start of things, right? And so actually this is a little bit complicated of a case here, right? Because you can imagine a much simpler case would be, maybe like it would actually be easier if this planet was just a kill field, and you started off somewhere in space, had to go navigate around the kill field planet, and use that to like redirect you, because you're like here, you were like here, you're getting sucked toward the planet, and you need to use this part of the you need to like get sucked in right here, as you orbit, then you use your boost, and that kind of releases you from orbit and sends you off this direction, so you can change the vector of your velocity as well, the direction vector, and then imagine like the goal for the level is like right up here or something. So this is another case where like that case would be very, very simple. But then we also have this one, right, of like what do you do when you're on a planet that has a solid surface, and how do you just achieve takeoff and freedom from that? And well, the planet has based on the parameters of the planet, on its mass and size and all these things, as well as the mass and size of the spaceship. Either it's trivially easy to take off, like I can just hold a button and turn off gravity and I can do whatever, right? So like imagine that I just did that, and then I could, the gravity was so weak I could just take off like that. It could be just strong enough where it would consume like my whole boost essentially to get that far, to get out of orbit. That could be something, or it could be like just strong enough where, like as soon as you, like you can kind of like boost a little bit to achieve like a decaying orbit, and then you have to and then you have to do some funny stuff in order to make it more stable, and then be able to break away. So because I think that's like the most complicated case here, and I think one of the ones that I found most interesting in previous versions of things, we had something like that working. That's what I would like to get to and demonstrate for this example planet. But I think also it would be worth, just talking through it, I think it would be worth having those other ones as well. So let's write those down. Planet can be trivially easy to escape. Planet consumes exactly all of boost to escape. I like that escape is just always capitalized. Planet is a kill box. You must redirect yourself in space using. Okay. And these are not like level ideas, but these are ideas we would composite. These are ideas we would composite into a level. Excuse me. Yeah. So those are a couple. And then there's the planet is just hard enough to escape with slingshotting, and that's kind of like what we want to do. So previously, one thing that we had we were sort of trying to lock step with was using the relative magnitude differences between real life masses to basically pick the values of the masses for objects in our level. And as soon as I cranked up the physics simulation speed, all of these kind of stopped working. Because we had objects like, I think our planet was in this range of 10 to the 24th, and we had a sun as well that was like 10 to the 30th, and now the planet entity has a mass of 10 of 10 units, and it already exerts like a pretty strong gravitational field on our little spaceship here, and that's because also the spaceship is it's actually also weighs 10 units. So these are right now all of the attracting stuff via gravity is also one way. So this is also something we might want to change, because we basically are treating everything as static in the system aside from the player. But part of the promise of the game may be to really simulate everything, all of the motions of the objects in a level over time, and that might be a more interesting thing as well to consider, right? Which we may want to do. But like looking at them, like the difference between the spaceship and the planet, aside from one is hard coded just to be static, the other one isn't, is that like the spaceship being mass 10 is some it's way denser than this planet is, because the planet is quite the size here. And one thing too, the way gravity works, right, is we're the center of gravity of one object is going to be the direction vector that is attracted to the center of gravity of the other object, which is right now the centers of both of these things. But also that means that the like gravity, as the size of this planet increases, the distance factor in the gravity equation also changes, right? So we have to keep that in mind here. And so we're working with the constraint of, what is this? That's my Mac. Go a little bit over there. We're also working with the constraint of, we would like most of these objects to be able to appear on screen. So they have to be relatively close to the same size, or it will be much harder to have things that are super, like, astronomically massive. Although that's something we want to be playing with, so we can add that to our list. I think we may want to just add this to-do list back here. Planet is really, really big. Did the game just crash? I think it logged that escape I hit to switch modes in Vim. Let's see. I'm gonna put this on my other window so I can be sure. Yeah, that killed the game. Let's ignore that for now. That's a bug, though. It's kind of annoying. We kind of did that. Did that. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay. So that is we do want to have some planets, some objects that are really big. So think of like a sun. A sun should be pretty huge. A sun should be pretty huge relative to the player, even at like this kind of squished down scale of everything. I think this is actually a pretty good size for like a planet here, right? Because if you just look at the screen, it doesn't take up that much. This one takes up like quite a bit of screen real estate here. And we also have this kind of issue of, like our vertical space here kind of matters a lot, right? Whereas like our side-to-side space is not really as interesting. Because right now, like you're kind of falling straight down, but off screen is the kind of the rest of the level, and it's all up. So it may be a constraint that generally in levels we want to be moving from left to right still, like a platformer, right? Because you can think of this as like a puzzle platformer where there is you kind of have this very unique movement. So yeah, because it's just so much harder, I think, to... Does this work? No. Like we're just kind of constrained by the fact that most people are running games on 16:9 aspect ratio or something close to that, some sort of widescreen aspect ratio. So I think we should kind of design around that fact, right? Because the goal should be to try to keep as much of the level on screen at once as possible, and especially once you start a level. So I'm going to write that down because I think that is actually a useful insight. Levels should be horizontally, that's not how you spell it, horizontally traversed in screen space from left to right for widescreen displays. And you know, oh, we closed the game. Okay, that's now becoming annoying. That's now pissing me off. But yeah, like because and even on like, well, because when you're on mobile, the portrait mode aspect ratio and device position is so much more natural, and it kind of does. It almost feels like that's what you would make a little bit more sense for this game, maybe. But we just can't do that because we're. I think we have to design this as a PC game first and foremost. Because I'm not familiar enough with the mobile game market that is, or this part of the mobile game market, to and I think we would be accepting a whole bunch of constraints from designing for that first that would block our ability to do things otherwise. So yeah, I think this insight is kind of what we want. Yeah, this insight here is basically we're trying to design right now the specific planet that is hard to take off from, that you have to boost around, but then and basically we'll be copy pasting that specific one for many of the levels, I would imagine, right? Because the physics is sort of systematically driven by the masses of the objects in it. I think it would make things a little bit simpler if we constrain things to just, here is a planet that we know has a mass and size that lets you do such and such action on it. This one lets you boost. This one lets you trivially take off, etc. As opposed to every single entity being like hand tweaked. I think we should like generally avoid non-standard entity masses / sizes, because like it is also one thing you'd want to build up is for the players to build up like what the feeling of the game is, to avoid breaking physics feel, because we want the players to be able to kind of understand how the physics should be working in the game. So one thing that obviously would throw that way off, right, is if we just have like a bunch of random planets in the level whose densities are all radically different, even if they're all the same size. Because like imagine you're trying to solve a puzzle, boosting around the solar system, and I think I know how I'm supposed to time my movement, and what kind of movement I have to do to redirect myself around the orbit of this Earth-like planet. And then it turns out it's actually a supermassive black hole, the size of Earth, and it's a kill box, and it doesn't tell you, and then you just die. Like that would be awful. That would be really bad. I have to sneeze again. So give me 1 second here. Okay. But yeah, so for that reason, also generally mass with size, unless unless the density is visually represented and interesting. Like a supermassive black hole would be interesting, right? If you have point mass, you have to avoid, but the gravity field of it is actually still pretty big. And maybe that is like an interesting idea too, is realizing gravity fields are just as big with mass constant, size different. Right, that might be like interesting if to build up to that kind of feeling of, you know, effectively the amount of the way you traverse around like an Earth planet, and the way you would traverse around a point mass that has the same mass a point mass in space that has the same like actual mass as the Earth planet. These two things have the same gravity field, but you're able also to get much closer to the center of gravity, right? So that's kind of like an interesting thing. Yeah, and this is kind of like the level we're trying to design for right here. And that is our constraint. Oh, whoops. This is like our constraint for how the boost should work. And the real thing that I think is kind of a problem, we actually kind of have this right now while the friction is pretty low, so I won't worry about that right now. But basically this is like a different movement system, so you can just kind of hold right and then your spaceship will walk around the planet, as opposed to you having to kind of point it in the correct directions every time. But we have to figure this one out, of like what to do about boost. Because like I said, the boost is just this kind of problem mechanic where, as it stands, it's basically a way to add infinite energy to the system of any level. Also, this is kind of pissing me off here. There we go. Okay, there we go. That's better. Not really, but the boost being able to add infinite energy to the level, what that basically means is in effect, you can whatever is the highest momentum field or momentum part of the level, whatever like does not really matter. All you have to do is overcome gravity of like of your starting position, and then you kind of can just from orbit, as long as it's not so rapidly decaying, just keep adding momentum by timing your boosts, and then you can achieve super far away distances. And now this is a potentially an interesting mechanic, because it is actually really cool to do that slingshot effect and keep slingshotting yourself around to get to like a pretty far away distance. However, it means that the game really can only be built out of those types of level progressions, uh, and that they're all kind of trivially easy and play out the same way, right? Because the only difficult part is that initial getting into orbit, and then you're really just kind of like waiting around, timing button presses until you're lined up in the kind of the correct direction. And that's not interesting. That has proved to be really, really lame. So there are a couple of things to do, and we have to. I think we probably need even a separate thing here for just like how to fix boost. So like I said, it's like it can't be infinite energy. It just can't. It just can't. Or it trivializes and breaks the possibility for every single level we could come up with. And the reason for that is basically no friction. Yeah, think of there's no friction unless you fuck up and hit something. So if you collide into a planet, if you fall out of orbit, then all the momentum you built up, at least when in the static system, is going to be dissipated into the collision, and we ignore that mostly because we're treating the player as so much less massive than these objects that like would be negligible. But it can't be infinite energy. It needs to exist, or you kind of don't have as many interesting tools to use this movement system with, because what it lets you do is it does let you take advantage of existing gravity fields and available energy, right? It lets you convert that into your take what is in the environment and convert it to something the player wants to do, and I think that is actually very cool and very interesting. There are a couple of parameters. There's like the boost bar duration needs to be locked down. And so we have to kind of determine how long we would want it to take if you were just holding the button to run out of juice. And right now it's tuned very short because we're trying to say, hey, you boost, and it's just enough to do the thing you want to do in this moment, because otherwise, again, infinite energy adder. Duration must be short if recharge is low. And then the recharge speed should not let you trivially add infinite energy, which is what we were seeing before yesterday, when the recharge was happening so quickly that you could just keep reboosting and then just like go off in a direction forever, which is not what we want. Recharge can be conditional. We can make it so right now, basically, it's pretty simple. The recharge for the thing is working on like a timer, and so when you have the button held, the bar goes down at a fixed rate. When you have it not pressed, the bar goes back up at a slower rate. But and the problem really is that bar goes back up kind of all the time, or goes back up in all these places, because you can, as the bar goes up, imagine that that is a store of momentum that you are just getting for free. Um, Recharging is storing momentum. It is storing momentum for future use. Think of it like that. And there's no cost to that, um, which I think is like also fundamentally less interesting game design, because you didn't really earn it. You didn't do anything to earn that charge. Um, Boost is needed. Boost helps prevent soft lock / stuck states. So think of one thing Boost is required for is it would be the only thing that would get you off of the surface of a planet. If you accidentally fall onto a solid surface planet during the course of a level, um, and it is not a trivially easy mass to escape from, then that is something where you have to be boosting to get off of it. And like having that available to the player in that kind of case allows you to allows me to do more interesting things with the level design. I would think, so that there are more states where potentially you could sort of soft fail here. Um, imagine if you will, the like a level where you have there's a planet here, planet here, planet here. If they're all if you're not able to boost, if it's like you're not able to recover from accidentally landing on one, if you're trying to go from like here to here to here, then your game just has all these soft locks in it, or you have to make every single one of these planets into kill boxes, right? Where you just really need to lock down that is a hard fail condition of the level. And I think there are a lot of times where you probably would want that, but also it's interesting as well to be able to, hey, maybe this one's a kill box, this one's a kill box, this one's solid. And so this is kind of like your checkpoint, essentially. Your checkpoint in the middle of like a chain of a bunch of stuff. And so you could imagine spacing out planets you can land on as increasing or decreasing the difficulty in execution of if you have to do this many things right in a row versus fewer and fewer. So that's also, I think, a good idea to think about. So we'll write that down. Solid surfaces can be considered checkpoints in all level and spaced out for difficulty tuning. So and I think that is probably a good way to think about them. Of like those are places where you can pause, you can reposition yourself, change like the direction of your movement, all this stuff. But yeah, boost helps prevent soft lock stuck states. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. We'll continue this in just a moment, though. Okay, and we're back. All right. So yes, we can. Where were we? One thing that we can do is make conditional the way that recharge works, right? So we can be, recharge can be a micro challenge. There can be physical pickups, right? Physical pickups. Imagine it could be solar powered, right? So you have to be on like the certain side of a planet in order to actually be able to recharge. And what could be interesting about solar power or physical pickups too is if you are if you're able to take advantage of those, imagine if you're solar powered and you are flying really close to a sun, that would unlock like a really cool moment where you can just like be constantly boosting, be like, oh, this is awesome, look how cool I am, I can go super far, super fast, do whatever, and that would be, I think that would be a really cool moment. So yeah, that's kind of why I think that would be interesting. It could be recharge is locked to being on planet surface, right? So you could only be able to do that once you're on the ground, right? And what that would be that would be solving the constraint of that would be solving for the infinite energy thing, because you now know wherever you are, doesn't matter where, your total amount of energy available to you in level is based on the high point, the highest energy point on the level, plus whatever is your maximum store of momentum, or of momentum in your boost, minus the minimum amount of energy it takes to go from the surface of the nearest object to that high energy point, right? So that would be a way that would very cleanly, like, mathematically constrain the problem, and kind of these ones do too. But I guess like the issue with it maybe is then you also can soft lock yourself just being stuck out in the middle of space, not doing anything pretty easily. Try not to soft lock out in space, which is a problem. The boost right now is a curve that with two plateaus and a fall off. And what that means is basically when you're at, like, it's dependent, how much you're boosting is dependent on the amount of fuel you have left in the tank. So you have like 100 energy or whatever, and from 100 to 90 your boost is like 10 times your base speed. From 90 to 30 it's like 3 times, and then from 30 down to 0 it is it linearly scales with that, is what I mean by that. And because that is kind of meant to simulate the if you look at like the thrust curve of a rocket engine, it does have this period where like the big, most of the thrust, the high point of the thrust is like right at the start here, and then there is like a floor that you hit for a little bit, and then you kind of just drop, right? And it looks different based on what thing you're on here. We can look at thrust curves all day, but they have like this kind of shape, right? And so this is kind of the shape that we would try to have of like this would be our first first floor, second floor, and then that's their taper off at the end. And that can all be tweaked. It also doesn't have to be like that. I think it's just a little interesting. It doesn't need to have this. But you could also have multiple boost meters or something. So Matt, and pickups could be whole meter increments. Like imagine that if you would of you have maybe like a big, you have like 2 tanks worth of boost and you consume one, right? And the second one is out in orbit somewhere and you have to like kind of line yourself up to get to it. And if you don't, then you fail, and then maybe your initial boost tank you are able to recharge via solar power, but then doing ones on top of that requires you to do some like more precise level navigation to do the micro challenge. That could be interesting, right? And there could be anything like delays in between these boost meters that you're doing. There's a lot of options, right? There are a lot of options to try to solve this problem. So, and I think, just like thinking through it, what else do we think is a potential way of making this not just like a super easy infinite energy machine? Um. Mm, mm, mm. Um. All right. Well, that probably is the. I think we can really determine over the course of this stream when my level of caffeine started to taper off. You see, it's you get these sort of caffeine pickups in terms of like 2-gram matcha increments, and there's like an initial boost, and then it sort of tapers off, and there's a um, so let's try to boil this down into things that we can actually go test out, because of course, like this is all just like us speculating, thinking here. Um, we need to actually go implement it, like this stuff in the game, to see if it makes sense, to see if it's fun to play, and we again, can have more than one of these solutions or and considerations. But I think this is like by far the biggest problem here, because I know how to and what the process is for tuning the parameters to be able to do that one planet little mini experiment, right? And then from there we can figure out, hey, what do we want to do for such and such other thing, so that you can have like each of these different classes of planets that we can have in our little toolbox here to add to a level. But the boost is really a problem one. And the boost, we want to lock that down, make that feel nice before we actually try to lock down a whole bunch of these planets, because that determines the other one. But what I think would also be useful maybe is like the visually representing gravity fields in general. Visualize because that kind of like tells you that also kind of tells you how to navigate around the level. At least for just designing it and debugging it. But also, it might be, it might just be better, right, to be able to always see that for a player, because it's got to be hard to just estimate. It's got to be just like hard to estimate. Okay, I kind of have a feel for how close I should be to this type of planet in order to get into orbit and reposition myself. But we kind of don't know how precise that's going to be right now, and we haven't done anything to control like the fall off super well, of like constrain the sizes of these things, or do whatever we want to have, like say a gravity field that is partially one thing, partially other. So I think we just want to be able to do this, and then this will kind of just fall in place, right? If we can just see all the gravity fields, then visually you should be able to see where's the highest energy point, which is going to be pretty important, I think. At least for some types of levels. Okay. Oh yeah, we also have been thinking of like adding kill boxes to the sides of a level, which we may not need if we solve boost correctly, right? But that is also like one of the things we have tried is maybe just constrain the bounds of a level to constrain infinite boost, which is kind of like not super great either, because it's just if you just add a bunch of kill boxes to a thing, then it sort of becomes more of a maze and less of an interesting system, I think. And we're trying to construct an interesting system here. But so what do we need? What do we need for all this stuff? We need pickups. Add pickup entities. We probably want two-way gravity. We want to at least add that in, because I think we're going to need that in for a whole ton of stuff. We should do this one, I think. We should try that one. Maybe add sun and solar energy fields, which is maybe a shader effect too. Add additional boost tanks. Um, tune single boost. Yeah, we really need to do that. And so that we also need to tune the base planet. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of things to do here. Maybe today a little light on coding. Today's been a little light on coding, but you know, I like this has kind of been the design problem that has been like beating me up and preventing me from progressing any further with this game design. So I think it will be good to actually try to solve it specifically, and that'll probably be like the next week or two. We will go all out, try to do a bunch of this stuff to make Boost a little bit better, a little bit more interesting, but still give you this sort of freedom and enable you to do all this fun stuff with the movement because of that. So I think that's where we're going to call it there for today with the game dev. So wrote notes on Boost and level stuff. Yeah, so I think that's all we're going to do for today in terms of that. I had an extra special fun bonus epilogue feature planned here for today's stream, and that is in the Zachtronics Solitaire collection on Sawayama Solitaire. I'm at exactly 90 wins right now, and so we're gonna see if don't look at my emails. If we're gonna see if in the next 25 minutes we can hit 100 wins in Sawayama Solitaire. So let's see if we can do it. All right. I just have to make sure. I have never tried. Okay, I think this should just work. And let's see if this kind of just works. I can't tell if the audio, it looks a little too high. How about that? That kind. I'm just looking visually because I have the my speaker amp turned off right now. That kind of looks. We'll crank it down a little bit more. All right, so that's like pretty significantly below. All right, so I play a lot of Sawayama Solitaire, believe it or not. So I kind of know the meta and all the good strategies for this thing. You know, I say that and watch. I'm just gonna like eat crow here in a second and like do really bad. That's the Let's Play curse I heard. But we are going to give it our best shot here and try to get that dub. Try to hit our our 100 wins for that sweet Steam achievement. So we'll do all that fun stuff. Yeah, I like this. So I do really like this this solitaire flavor. Sawayama is pretty fun of all the ones in the Zachtronics Solitaire collection. I think it's like, I think it definitely is the, you know, they say it's the easiest. It definitely is the easiest if you compare it to like Fortune's Favor or whatever. You know, we're like, most of the hands of Sawayama Solitaire are solvable, which is something you can't even say for like Klondike Solitaire. You know, I'm something of a solitaire aficionado. So let me tell you. But yeah, like Klondike, you can kind of end up in really lame. Most of the hands are just like not winnable. So you can just end up in all these lame spots where you can't really do anything, and you're like, okay, there was kind of no way for me to possibly win this, and I just burned a bunch of time doing that. But with with this one, like, you know, most of these are winnable. Yeah, this one seems like we're doing pretty good here, right? So, you know, the goal of Sawayama and the way it's different from like your more traditional Klondike, right, is you have this extra flex spot here. You don't have the ability to recycle cards, but they're still coming out like 3 at a time. And you can drop any card onto a free space, not just kings. But all those things kind of combine together to make it so Sawayama is a lot more, you know, many more of the hands are winnable compared to Klondike. And there actually is, I feel like, a little bit more skill involved, where because you have some more of these options, you actually are making like real choices, real decisions during the course of gameplay here that are determining whether you win or lose, as opposed to just kind of like, you know, like there's a reason why in, you know, the stupid mobile Klondike Solitaire, also on sometimes the touch targets break, on the stupid mobile Klondike Solitaire, most of the game you just are like hitting the auto move card button, right? It just is not very interesting. Because it's like, you know, you don't really feel like you're doing anything. You're just clicking the stupid button over and over. But you know, we'll do that. I think that's worth sacking that free spot there. Okay, it may not have been. Well, actually, no, this is okay. We do something like that. And we do this, because we got that 2 right there. And then I think we do one of these. And there you go. Pretty good, pretty good. We have this 7 here that we kind of don't want. These 3s are free, so we'll take those. Yeah, we always are looking for free cards, basically, in Solitaire. Free moves that cost us nothing to do, and we may have run out of them. Oh no, we can do this. This kind of sucks that we've got, you know, double kings right there. We don't really like to see that. We have to do this, and then we are looking for. Yeah, I think we're dead here. So that's unfortunate. Because I don't think there's a move. I don't think there's a move available from here, and we're out of free spots. So I'm gonna call it on that one. Well, let's see. Got a new hand. You always draw first before you move stuff. Because you basically could be cheating yourself out of like a good free play. Let's just do this right now. While we're early on, I like to try to uncover the high value cards, or, you know, you want those aces and those like kings in the right spots early, so that they're not just like, they don't just brick you later. So that was nice. We're looking for a red 9. There's one all the way down there, but we really want to see the second one coming up pretty soon. Red queen. There's still one more in the deck, so we want to find that guy. Okay. Oh, that's not really gonna help. We want that one. So now we've got a slot. This seems like an important move here, because we need that 6. Let's do this right now. And that's pretty good, right? We like that. We like that move a lot, actually. And we like this move even more. Haha. Okay, nice. And so now once we get our free spot, once we've drawn the deck, we can kind of consolidate there. Which is good. Okay, that's nice. Let's do that. And that. And like so. Okay, so this should be pretty winnable at this point. I think we've most certainly got enough spots here to do everything, and we've got like all of the anchor cards, all the kings and aces. So yeah, that's it. Excellent, excellent, excellent. See, and that's just how you become a solitaire master, like me, is by demonstrating real exceptional ability. Okay, so let's go here. I think that's no more moves there. Yep, I think we redeal. Do that. We're looking for that black. Oh, shoot. So that kind of sucks. So here we have, this is now a bricked pile, right? Because the black queen, we've seen one up here and one's right there. So that basically means this whole column is dead until we can move the king off of it, right? Which is not great. Usually you see that, and you're not. You see that like that this early on such a messy board. You're not very optimistic that it's winnable anymore, and it's okay. Not all of them are winners. But let's see. We kind of have a problem. I think this is a dead board state here. Because we can only, with Sawayama, we can only put like one card in this free spot. And we can't, there's no way for us to make a free column because we have too many things stacked on top of each other everywhere. So we redo this one, there's no black 10. Actually, there is a black 10. But then we can't do anything with that 2. We're missing an 8. We can't do anything there. We do this, then there's kind of nothing you can do with that. There's nowhere for us to put this one. Yeah, that's just that's a dead board. All right, that's fine. It's fine. The road to 100 starts with many lost games of solitaire, which is okay. We are okay losing games of solitaire every once in a while. If life has taught me anything, is that you can't win every hand you're dealt. But you try the best with the ones you're given. You learn the numbers. You figure out the meta. Do whatever it is. It's really like a very zen practice, for me, solitaire is. I kind of want to do that, but I don't see a 4. One other thing to keep in mind too is a very good strategy for solitaire is not to make a move before you need to. But I think actually if we do move this way, that is... it wasn't as good as I thought. But if you have like the option of moving two cards to do the same thing, and you don't need to on that current deal, then you should just wait. You should just wait, because whichever one is the correct move will most likely reveal itself. Reveal itself to you like Jesus. A couple of deals from there. So that's a little technique from the pros there of solitaire. Alright, we don't have any of the 2s we want. So we can do that. That's a freebie. We might be dead here. Oh no, there's some 2s here we can use. And then we can do this, like so. We can do that. But okay, that's good. That's pretty good. We can do this, and that, and this, and that, and then. Okay, we're not quite dead yet. We're actually doing pretty okay right now. We're gonna have a problem here because we got double kings, but we can still kind of get through that. And that should be a dub. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Just like a solitaire god here, doing good work. All right, 93 we're at. Will we get 7 more wins in 10 minutes? I don't know. Not quite sure about that, but we'll give it our best shot. Let's do that one because that's a better move. And we'll do that, and then we'll do one of those. There's nowhere to put that 9 yet. Do we have? No, we don't have the 3 that we want. Okay. Alright, now we kind of have a little bit of a problem because we have a lot of bricks here, but they are pretty short brick stacks, and they are all face cards, so they're kind of what we want in these spots, but we don't have any connectors to make use of them, which is a problem. So we can do this too. We can do a little pivot, and then that's the card it's supposed to be on. But this does give us the option to have a free row right here when we get to this point. We can't make that move though. If we make this move, is that 9 going to help us? Let's see. So 7, 6, 2. I think that's the correct move. So we do this, and then we can move that there. Okay, that was pretty good. Alright, let me do one of these. Yeah, there's the 10s we've been looking for so long. Should be safe to do that now. And that should just be game right there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, so see what I mean? Sawayama, it's fun. There's actually a lot of like little nuances you can learn, but it's pretty easy compared to like some of the other solitaire variants, especially in this collection here. But I think it's more fun if like they are, if it is more skill based, right? And this is the game design lesson we're trying to take out of it here. The more your player skill actually kind of matters. Like the order we just did that got us like 3 extra cards, which is pretty good. We'll do that just because we can. Okay. you know, and your games are kind of won or lost on those margins of like, did you do that play to get like a couple extra cards worth of value, and if you didn't, then you lose. But I think most of the hands of Sawayama are winnable. There are still some problem ones, right? Because I think, you know, you're just gonna have some variance in a card game like this, where sometimes you will be seeing things that, I'm trying to see which one I should do there. You know, you'll have variance in a card game in like the random deals you're getting, where some of them basically you'll get a position that there are two, you know, valid looking moves, and it is not going to be apparent to you which of them was correct until after the fact. So, you know, you have to play some of the probability game, but that's like par for the course with cards, right? But it does mean, like, you know, not, you know, it can kind of be lame if like you go very deep into solving a particular hand, and then only to realize, oh, you know what, I made a move like 5 minutes ago that caused this brick, and because I'm not, I don't want to be wasting my whole freaking day here just plotting ahead this one solitaire move. You know, I didn't see it, and so you lose. You can lose that way, but oh well. That's the name of the game. Name of the game there is solitaire. Okay, so we kind of need this 7 here. Seems pretty important. Do we want the 4 or the 3? We want the 4, I think. Put it doesn't really matter. I like those. Okay, so this is an example of a hand that looks pretty bad. This is pretty grim, but you know, it's gonna be tricky because we have a lot of face cards there, and face cards are very bricky because, you know, imagine you're at the end of the if you're at the end of the deck one way or the other, or the values range, then let's get rid of those. You have fewer ways that card can be connecting, right, with another card. So there. So if I do that, do I lose? I kind of don't have anywhere good to... Oh, why did I do that? Yeah, I think that just killed me. Oh, wait, maybe not quite yet. No, that's pretty much pretty dead there. Pretty dead. Okay. Alright, well, not too bad. Try again. Okay. That is not a very well connected flop there. Well, we'll find a way. You know, life always finds a way, so we should too. Yeah, so this would be an example of a position where I kind of can do a couple of things. I can do this and then pull one of those black 7s, which I think is what I'm going to do. Or I could reposition something here to get onto this free spot. But I think I'm going to do this because otherwise, we know this one is buried, so it'll be harder to unbrick those two 8s there, right? Or the other way around, whichever it was. One of those things. Yeah, because see, we just like drew all the 7s, like all the mid cards here. So we have to deal with that. We deal with it, indeed. So that ace is really deep there, which just kind of sucks. So we can do that. And then that is pretty good. That's pretty good value. We kind of want to get to that ace, but I don't think we have enough free spots. We're missing the 10, so we can't do that yet. But this is a little unfortunate. So we do need that. Let's see, we can kind of do that. Okay, excellent, so we were able to get to it. And then where was that 2? The 2 is now kind of deep in the stack. So we will have to do some fun stuff here. Let's see, 5 diamonds. We can do this instead. Alright, I think we got this one pretty locked down here. That may have been not the correct play. Yeah, and then this will auto-solve once you have like all of the same rank exposed at the same time. Because there's no undo, you can potentially... There are times where it's actually the wrong play to pull a card, or to pull a card onto the ace. They're not... Like in Klondike, you can use those as kind of a flex space, but that is not how it works in Sawayama here. So we'll do this like last one here, and then it'll be time for me to go to work. So sad. So sad. The solitaire stream is coming to an end here. We're pretty close to that 100 wins, so that's really awesome. I think that might be a brick though. Because I can do this and then move. There's like kind of nothing I can do with that really. If I move this, there's also nothing I can do with that. Yeah, so sometimes also just like bad, you get dealt a bad hand. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me for this fun game dev and solitaire playing stream. 3 more wins to go. But I'll see you guys all here next time.